Hey guys, I wasn't really wanting to do this video, but I figured might as well. Um, Me and ChatGPT have not been talking much lately. It's just, I don't know, maybe I grew out of it, maybe it got old, but I don't know, we just don't have a connection like we used to. It's just, I don't know, it's just a different experience. So, but I'll continue using it for videos. I know that I haven't used it my last one, and I don't think I've used it for quite a few of them, I think. But this is the Q&A for April 20th. And the other videos, I think have videos going out until the 26th. So I've tried to avoid that. So what I've done, starting with this one, is I'm not going to have seasons and episodes for my Q&A from this moment forward, because things just happen and things I want to talk about, and it pushes out, it messes up the episode numbers. And I'm like I think, where am I? I think I'm at 4, maybe 5 videos out. So yeah, it just doesn't work out anymore. So I want to talk on Atlas about doing a 10 Q&A questions. I'm just gonna say for a Q&A. Give me 10 questions for a Q&A. It looks like they've changed this. They made it a lot darker. It's black now. Does it look darker to you? Because I use this, I don't remember it being so dark. Of course, it has been a while since I used Atlas. So it says, here are 10 solid Q&A questions you can use. These are flexible and work especially well for your style without provoking, direct, and a bit controversial. 1. What's a belief you once held strongly but no longer agree with? This is actually a very interesting question. My dad actually told me this. He said there are things that he believes today that he used to believe before that he doesn't believe anymore. And this is actually kind of a scary question. Although I have confidence that this does not apply to me, because, sorry about the lighting, people change that direction of where the lamp goes, and I'm recording at night. But anyways, this doesn't apply to me, and it kind of scares me, because if things were to change, like, you guys know me on this channel, everything is so narrow, where if I'm wrong about one thing, it completely collapses everything before it. So, I don't really even call them beliefs. A belief that changes over time because you learn new things and all this. It's interesting because the way I present information, when I learn more things, it's more added to it. So when you're in an audience and you're like, oh yeah, I agree with that, and you think of it, oh, I see where he's coming from, and I know the reason why. From my perspective, I don't necessarily see it from your point of view, because I don't have that information logic available to me. Well, I have the logic, I just don't have the information available to me at that point. But later down the line, I will have that information, but you don't know what I know, and I don't know what you know, but we're on the same track, in the same path to get to knowing all of that. If you know, you know. So that's a very good question. 2. Do you think most people think for themselves or follow systems without realizing it? This is another good question, and it's something I want to talk about. Before I started this video today, something came up to me about the Enlightenment era. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but I do want to make my next video about that. But do you think most people think for themselves or for us without realizing it? Not think about Enlightenment era and all that set aside. Um, hmm. This is a hard question to answer. Because they do follow systems without realizing it. And people can say they think for themselves. But there's always something that's foundational in our culture, in our society, that makes them think. Even the fact to think that if you were to say, well, I think for myself, and you have a society based on thinking for yourself, well, is that concept thinking for yourself thinking for yourself? A good example of that would be the Netherlands. Netherlands, they have this whole thing about independence and free thinking and all this. And I'm thinking, well, if you have a country that says that you're free thinking, you're independent, and all of this, well, are you really doing that? Outside of being told that you have that available to you. Same thing with America, but Netherlands is much more like that. It's more deeply ingrained. We're just hypocrites when we do it. But over there, it's actually something they naturally do. So you could say, well, do most of the people think for themselves or follow the systems not realizing it when it's that system of thinking for yourself that, you know what I'm saying. Question 3. What's something widely accepted today that you believe is actually wrong? There's a lot of things widely accepted that are actually wrong. Tons of things. And it's not even belief. I mean, that's actually kind of the answer is in the question that you believe is right. Beliefs are wrong. The belief that you believe in something is wrong. Think about that one. 4. It's truth. It's very interesting how this works because I was just thinking about this, the Enlightenment, all that. I'm trying to answer that away from that. So keep that in mind. Is truth objective or does it depend on perspective and context? Truth is objective. There's an underlying truth to everything. It's the foundation of everything around us. We just have different interpretations and perspectives on that. You're either on the path or you're not. And there are so many people, and I know people, and they get upset when you talk about this kind of stuff because there are people out there who will say, well, your perception is skewed to one side, and there's no such thing as an underlying truth. The problem with that is you're exposing the own weakness of your own mind and mentality. Why would you do that? That's stupid. Why are you saying that? It's stupid. Which means that their thoughts are skewed and there's no truth. So why would you expose yourself mentally like that? So people who think like that, they're trying to hedge. They think they're hedging because they don't know truth. They're hedging and they end up losing everything in the end. 5. We're going deep in these. I'm sorry, but it's just the questions. 5. Do you think people are shaped more by their environment or their own choices? That's a very... Man, these are deep questions. I'm giving very simple answers. It says more by their environment or their own choices. First of all, people don't have choices. They don't have choices. I know how I'm twisting what this says, but I'm going to answer it the way that I understand how things operate. People are not shaped by their environments. It's about who people are. Who you are is what determines where you're placed, what you understand. But here's the thing. If there was a void, there was nothing around you, there was no such thing as environment, and you were in a void, an absolute void, that you could say, well, that's not an environment. If you could go in that place, you would still end up as the person you are. You'll just be in isolation. So it doesn't matter what your environment is. It doesn't matter what your choices are. If you're in that void, you'll still end up being the same person you are today. It's just who you are. Your mind, everything working together, your consciousness, all of that is who you are. Who you are is who you don't. Who you are is everything else out of your life. No, nothing to reflect on. Nothing. That is who you are. Who is that person? 6. What role does power play in shaping what people believe is true? Power. Well, you have to define what power is. Are you talking about influence? Are you talking about relationships? Are you talking about, there's so many different things you can interpret that as. My interpretation of that, what role does power play in what people believe is true? See, I don't want to go there because people would say, well, why don't you talk about the elitists? Why don't you talk about governments and stuff like that? Why don't you talk about things that are propaganda or propagates information that people believe is true? It doesn't really. It doesn't really. Going back to my previous question, if you were in a void, well, who are you? You would have been that person anyway, and you would believe these things even in isolation, because those things are what you make meaning out of things around you and your existence. So what you believe would be true would always be that, because you're only by yourself and you have nothing to reflect on. Which people would say, well, that would mean that reality is all about a perception of the mind. And true, but there's also the underlying truth of your own existence and how your mind is structured to understand what is going on, and you're trying to make meaning of things to reflect it back on. So it's not entirely your own reality is in your mind. It's outside of you too. They're working together in a deterministic way. That's a very deep. These are very deep questions. But yeah. 7. Can someone be completely free from bias, or is that impossible? Everyone is going to have bias. If you're in a void, like I said, if you were in a void, you would have bias. No doubt about that. Eight, do you think society rewards honesty? It's like we're running into a theme here. It's like riddles that all connect to the same thing. A void. Do you think society rewards honesty or conformity more? It depends on what you see as honesty. You can be honest in a conformed way as long as people believe it's true. What was that? I know we have a mouse running around, but that was like that was weird. And nothing else is in here. It sounded like something just breathed, like something was like us. It sounded like a dog was like doing that breathing thing they do right next to me, and we don't have any. We moved them outside. They're not in here, so I don't know what that was. Um, but yeah, what is honesty? It's whatever society sees it as. 9. What's something people misunderstand about you? A lot of things. But what is something people misunderstand about me? People misunderstand that there is one thing, and I don't want to say it. Um, um, I'll say it like this. People see my videos, they see the philosophy, they see the astrology, they see all of these things in a way that they understand, but they don't see the not person the essence of what is speaking through those things. That is what people misunderstand the most about me. If you know, you know. 10. If you couldn't make people understand one idea you believe in, what would it be? What are we talking about these beliefs for? What are we... One idea I believe... okay, I give you one. If I could make people understand one idea I believe in, there is one. It's the Anakin theory. You know, I want people to understand everything about that. I want people to understand that there is more than the... You see the philosophy, you see it through philosophical lens, you see Star Wars, you see all that, you call Jake the Chosen One, you call him Anakin, you use this on social media, you say that millions of people say it. Now, some people use it differently than what most people probably use the word as. Chosen One, Anakin, all that. How Jake sees it is, and he takes now his mind would work is, he would take what is the greater number? What could you put on the majority of people and use that as the truth? So, if people call him Anakin and Chosen One, he's going to assume you don't understand him at the essence level. Again, he's not saying it like I make my videos, but he's been in the roles that he plays in. They all have a certain theme about who he is. And that's who he is. And I wish that more people understood that. I wish more people understood me too, which goes back to question number 9. You could apply that to both cases. Make that your deep thought for have that as a shower thought. Think about what I'm saying there. The philosophy, and if I could see beyond philosophy, what would they interpret this as? If I was them, to the best of my ability, what would I interpret that as? You could do it from your side point of view. and try to invert it. Human mind is powerful. It can do that if you have the logic to follow the path. If you want, I can tailor you specifically for your Comic Con channel style, more aggressive, philosophical, or controversial. So, that's the end of questions 10. My 10 questions for April 20th. It was a lot. It was deep stuff. But I answered them to the best of my ability. And I'll tell you this, going back to question, what is it? Question number 1. What's a belief you once held strongly but no longer agree with? For all these questions, and all questions before and after this one, my answers will still be the same. They will never change. My answers are always going to be what I've always answered. It's funny how that works. They're never going to change. Never. Ever. I can 100% assure you. I make you a bet. I bet you. What I just said, all of them, including Anakin theory, misunderstanding me, honesty, those will never change. They just won't. It's not that I don't want it to have them change. It's just, it's a truth. It's the objective truth. So, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. Is there anything else I want to add? Not at this time. But, so it's interesting to ask you these questions because it says up here, as you can see, it says Anakin in real life. And I just clicked on one of my ChatGPT things and said, give me 10 questions for Q&A. So, yeah. I think that will be it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.